Back to reality for President Obama after a week-long vacation on Martha's Vineyard. He's returning to Washington, already facing several hot-button issues, including the crisis in Egypt, as well as looming deadlines for negotiations with Republicans over federal spending and the debt ceiling. All this as he prepares to hit the road on a bus tour, touting his plans for economic and education reforms. Joining us now, David Drucker, senior correspondent for the Washington Examiner. Egypt very much in flames, and the president is going on this bus tour talking about how to make college education more affordable for the middle class, supposedly. What about the optics of that, David? How does it look?
Well, I don't think Americans are going to be too upset with the idea that he's focused on domestic issues versus an obvious foreign policy problem and challenge, because a lot of Americans are war-weary, and they're just not much in the mood to look overseas and deal with what's going on over there. However, it doesn't mean that this problem in Egypt, which is a major problem, and then you combine a lot of these other issues that he's dealing with, Syria, etc., this is going to take most of his attention no matter how many bus tours he goes on, no matter how much focus he gives to the economy, at least publicly. There's just no doubt what's happening in Egypt is a major, major issue for the United States. It could turn into a major foreign policy and national security problem because of the importance of Egypt vis-a-vis Israel and the entire region there. And so no matter what the president chooses to focus on, and you know, Americans probably to some degree like the focus on education and things like that, I just expect he'll be looking over his shoulder at the Middle East for the foreseeable future.
Well, and what Americans probably would like to focus on is jobs, and the jobs numbers not great yet, still, you know, in the mid 7% range unemployment, and the president's poll numbers on the economy are looking, well, about as weak as they ever have right now.
It is, and it's interesting because on the one hand, voters have shown that they don't have much confidence in the Republicans in Congress either when it comes to this, and Obama polls generally better than Republicans on these issues. But ever since he's gone on his summer campaign to tout his economic proposals and policies, they're not much different than they've ever been, but to tout them and kind of renew the focus on them, it hasn't helped him yet. And I'm thinking that the fighting with House Republicans and Senate Republicans in regard to the looming budget issue and the debt ceiling issue, they don't tend to help members of Congress, but they've also shown that they can drag down the president's approval numbers, and that doesn't necessarily help him in terms of negotiating. So it's going to be a long fight. And really, John, you know, until we get back to a case where we've got 250,000 jobs a month, month over month over month being created, there's going to be, despite a lot of good economic indicators, there's going to be a drag in the eyes of a lot of Americans that this economy just isn't where they want it to be.
Yeah, and we've got another budget fight coming up end of September when the federal budget basically, well, federal government going to run out of money. David Drucker,
ready for another showdown.
Yeah, we're going to be covering that for sure. David, thank you.
Thanks a lot, John.